Washington Examiner political and investigative reporter Sarah Bedford. Sarah, it's great to have you on. I want to play this soundbite because this is a former Vice President Mike Pence, and he's talking about, the investigation into Hunter Biden.
I have a sense that while I welcome these charges and the guilty plea, I have a sense that this will do very little to allay the concerns of millions of Americans that we just simply don't have equal treatment under the law.
Yeah, it's a fair point, Sarah, because you have a lot of people, as John Yoo was kind of alluding to earlier, you had a lot of people saying, 5-year investigation, slap on the wrist, I'm not buying it.
That's right. And a lot of what congressional Republicans' interest has been concentrated on is less, at this point, what Hunter Biden actually did with regards to his taxes and this gun violation. It's more on how the Justice Department has handled it over the past 5 years. I mean, just take the gun charge alone, for example. Either Hunter Biden checked the box certifying that he was addicted to a controlled substance, or he didn't check the box. That should have been a pretty easy one for the Justice Department to find out. The tax evasion charges as well date back at least 5 or 6 years. And for the Justice Department to have sat on that for so many years and then entered into this sort of sweetheart deal with Hunter Biden just a few weeks after a whistleblower from the IRS emerged alleging some pretty serious slow walking from the Justice Department, I think you're seeing a lot of frustration from congressional Republicans that now Democrats have a way to sort of brush this aside and say that there's nothing more to see here with Hunter Biden when their interest really was never focused on the gun violation or the tax charges themselves.
And it seems like the Democrats did more than just brush this aside. I mean, they just kind of forgot about it altogether. Catherine Fung writes in Newsweek the following, quoting here, Hunter Biden plea deal sparks awkward silence from the Democrats. Very true. I mean, didn't hear much about it. Like, oh, good, it's over. Let's move on.
I mean, Democrats have been trying to play that card since Hunter Biden emerged as a subject of scrutiny during the 2020 race. I mean, the problem here is that the reason why he's been a subject of interest for Republicans is because what he did goes really far beyond what he's pleaded guilty to. Allegedly, Republicans are really interested in the alleged influence peddling that he engaged in while his father was vice president. This deal does nothing to look at that. Now, the U.S. Attorney in Delaware, David Weiss, did say that part of the investigation is possibly ongoing, but certainly Democrats are going to try to really move on quickly from this now that they have this guilty plea.
And through all of this, I just want to get your take on this, Sarah. Did you know that Joe Biden, apparently the greatest foreign policy president of all time? Listen to him, and I'll get your last response. Oh, it's a quote. Well, let's just read it then. How's that? I'm going to say something outrageous. I think I know as much about American foreign policy as anybody living, including Dr. Kissinger. That's what I've done my whole life for the last 270 years. I think you got the last part kind of mixed up. Your final thoughts on that?
Whoops. It was Obama's own defense secretary, Robert Gates, who said that he thought that Biden had been wrong on every major foreign policy and national security decision of the past 4 decades. I mean, just look at the 3 years of Biden's presidency alone, whether we're talking about the Afghanistan withdrawal, this escalation of the involvement in the Ukrainian conflict, the underestimation of China as an adversary. Joe Biden has a really poor foreign policy track record, but, Republicans would say he also has a pretty poor domestic policy track record. So what is it that he's going to tout heading into his reelection?
Yeah, and somewhere the 100-year-old Henry Kissinger is shaking his head like, no, probably not. Sarah Bedford, it's great to have you on. Thank you.
Thank you.